This is an invitation. It's an invitation to be brave. It's a call to step into the arena of your own life. We are going to talk about something tough. We are going to talk about selfishness. This word can bring up a lot of shame. It can make us want to put up our armor. We might want to hide or pretend it doesn't apply to us. But courage isn't about being perfect. Courage is about showing up and being seen, even when it's uncomfortable. It's about being willing to look at the parts of ourselves we would rather ignore. This journey isn't about blame. It is about growth. It is about connection. We live in a world that often encourages us to look out for number one. It tells us to hustle, to win, to get ahead. And taking care of ourselves is important. It is vital. But there's a line. There is a place where self-care can curdle into self-absorption. This is where we stop seeing the people around us. We see them only for what they can do for us. This is where we start to build walls instead of bridges. This essay is a map. It is a guide for taking down those walls, brick by brick. It is about learning to live with a whole heart, a heart that is open to others. The journey from selfishness to selflessness is not a quick fix. It is a practice. It is a commitment you make every single day. It requires us to get really honest with ourselves. It demands that we listen to the people we may have hurt. It asks us to be vulnerable enough to admit when we are wrong. This is the work of daring greatly. It is messy. It is difficult. But it is also where we find our truest selves. It is where we find belonging, joy, and meaning. It is where we learn to love ourselves and others better. So, let's take a deep breath together. Let's agree to be brave. Let's agree to be kind to ourselves as we explore this topic. This is not about shaming ourselves into being better people. Shame corrodes the very part of us that believes we are capable of change. Instead, this is about understanding. It is about compassion. It is about believing in our capacity to transform. It is about choosing courage over comfort. It is about choosing to live a life that is not just about us, but about all of us. We are all in this together. Let's get clear on what we mean by selfishness. It's not just about taking the last cookie. It's not just about wanting to choose the movie. Those are small things. True selfishness is a pattern. It is a mindset that consistently places your own wants and needs so far above everyone else's that you can no longer see their humanity. It's a disconnection. It's a way of moving through the world as if you are the main character and everyone else is just a supporting actor. They exist only in relation to you. This is a subtle but powerful distinction. Self-care is not selfishness. Let me say that again. Setting boundaries is not selfish. Saying no to protect your energy is not selfish. Resting when you are tired is not selfish. These are acts of self-respect. These are the practices that allow you to show up for others in a meaningful way. Selfishness, on the other hand, drains the energy from relationships. It takes without giving back. It demands without offering support. It sees connection as a transaction. What can I get out of this? That is the core question of a selfish mindset. Think about it this way. Imagine you are part of a team building a bridge. Everyone has a job to do. Everyone needs to carry their weight. Self-care is making sure you have enough water and rest so you can do your part effectively. Selfishness is showing up and demanding that everyone else carry your materials for you. It's complaining that your part of the bridge is too hard. It's taking credit for the work of others. It's seeing the bridge not as a shared creation, but as a platform for your own glory. It undermines the entire project. So, selfishness is a deep-seated pattern of self-absorption. It's a filter that makes us see the world through a lens of me, me, me. It makes it difficult to practice empathy. It makes it hard to celebrate someone else's success. It makes it nearly impossible to sit with someone in their pain without making it about ourselves. Recognizing this pattern is the first, bravest step. It's not about judging ourselves. It's about naming what we see. It's about saying, this is what's happening, and it's not who I want to be. That is where the real work begins. When we act from a place of selfishness, the first casualty is almost always trust. Trust is the glue of all relationships. It's built in small, consistent moments. It's remembering a detail someone shared. It's showing up when you say you will. It's keeping a confidence. Selfishness shatters this glue. When people learn that you will always put your needs first, no matter the cost to them, they stop relying on you. They stop being vulnerable with you. They build a protective wall because they can't trust you to handle their heart with care. The relationship becomes fragile, braced for the next time you let them down. This broken trust leads directly to damaged relationships. Friendships wither. Family ties become strained. Romantic partnerships feel hollow. When one person consistently takes more than they give, a deep imbalance is created. The other person starts to feel invisible. They feel like their needs, feelings, and dreams don't matter. They begin to pull away, not out of anger, but out of self-preservation. A selfish person might then feel confused. They might wonder why everyone is leaving. They fail to see that they have created an environment where genuine connection cannot possibly survive. Beyond the structural damage to relationships, selfishness inflicts deep emotional wounds. Being on the receiving end of a selfish act feels like a betrayal. It sends a painful message. You are not important. Your feelings do not matter. It can make a person doubt their own worth. It can create feelings of resentment, sadness, and loneliness. For a child with a selfish parent or a partner in a one-sided relationship, these wounds can last a lifetime. They can shape how that person views all future relationships, making them hesitant to trust and fearful of being hurt again. Finally, selfishness stifles the growth of any group it touches. Think of a workplace, a community project, or even a family. A group thrives on collaboration, on shared goals, on the belief that we are all in this together. A selfish individual poisons this environment. They hoard information. They take credit for team wins. They blame others for failures. They create a culture of competition instead of cooperation. The group's potential is capped because energy is wasted on managing the fallout from one person's self-absorption instead of being channeled toward a collective positive outcome. The entire system suffers. We often think of selfishness as a way to get what we want. We think it helps us win, but there is a profound and painful paradox at play. The more we focus only on ourselves, the more isolated we become. Selfishness builds a kingdom with you as the ruler, but it is a lonely, empty kingdom. When you push others away or use them for your own gain, you eventually find yourself alone. You may have success, money, or power, but you will lack true, meaningful connection. You will have subjects, but you will not have friends. This is a deep, aching loneliness. This loneliness leads to a feeling of inner emptiness. We are wired for connection. It is in our DNA. We need to love and be loved. We need to belong to something larger than ourselves. Selfishness is like trying to survive on a diet of sugar. It might give you a temporary rush, a quick hit of satisfaction when you get your way, but it provides no real nourishment. It leaves you feeling hollow inside. You keep chasing the next thing, the next win, the next acquisition, hoping it will finally fill the void. But it never does, because the void is connection-shaped. This self-focus also causes us to miss out on the incredible blessings of a shared life. When you are only looking out for yourself, you miss the profound joy of helping someone else succeed. You miss the warmth of a shared laugh over a silly mistake. You miss the strength that comes from holding someone up when they are struggling. You miss the beauty of seeing the world through someone else's eyes. Life becomes a small, colorless movie, starring only you. You miss the rich, vibrant, technicolor experience of a life lived in deep connection with others. On a deeper level, this path leads to what I call spiritual dryness. I define spirituality as the belief in a connection to something larger than ourselves. It gives us a sense of perspective, meaning, and purpose. Selfishness is the enemy of this. It shrinks our world down to the size of our own ego. There is no room for awe. There's no room for wonder. There's no room for gratitude. When your world is only about you, it becomes a very small, very boring place. This spiritual disconnection is the ultimate price of selfishness. It robs our lives of their deeper meaning. The opposite of selfishness is not just being nice. It's actually something far more powerful. It's a combination of self-awareness and compassion. This is the alternative path. This is the way back to connection. Self-awareness is, the courage to hold up a mirror. It's the willingness to ask the hard questions, like, how did my actions affect that person? What was my motivation in that conversation? Am I showing up as the person I want to be? It really requires us to get out of our own heads and look at our behavior from the outside. It's about taking an honest inventory, but this self-awareness, it has to be paired with compassion, specifically self-compassion. Because honestly, when we look in that mirror, we're not always going to like what we see. Our first instinct might be to feel shame. We might want to say, I am a bad person, but shame is not a helpful motivator. Self-compassion is, it lets us say, I made a mistake. That behavior was not aligned with my values, but I am worthy of love and belonging, and I am capable of change. Self-compassion is what gives us the strength to stay in the arena and try again, instead of running away in shame. And once we can practice awareness and compassion for ourselves, we can begin to extend it to others. Compassion is not the same as pity. Pity is feeling sorry for someone. Compassion is feeling with someone. It's the ability to recognize their humanity, to understand their perspective, and to feel a sense of shared experience. It's what allows us to set our own ego aside and truly listen. It's what drives us to help, not because we want praise, but because we recognize a fellow human being in need. Compassion is the antidote to the disconnection of selfishness. Choosing this path is a conscious act. It's a decision you make over and over again. It's choosing courage over comfort. It's choosing curiosity over being right. It's choosing to lean into the discomfort of vulnerability, because that is where connection is forged. Stepping into this arena means you will stumble. You will get it wrong. You will have to apologize. But you will also experience the profound joy of authentic, wholehearted living. You will build bridges instead of walls. And you'll find that true strength lies not in protecting yourself, but in opening your heart. Changing a deep-seated pattern like selfishness requires a process. We can't just flip a switch. I call this process rising strong, and it has 3 main parts: the reckoning, the rumble, and the revolution. This framework can guide us as we mindfully move from self-absorption toward a more connected, loving way of being. It's a path for our minds, our hearts, and our spirits. It is about getting curious about our own stories and finding the courage to write a new, braver ending for ourselves. This is the heart of the work. The first step is the reckoning. This is where we get honest with ourselves and recognize that we are emotionally hooked. It's the moment you realize your behavior has hurt someone. It's the feeling in your gut when you know you acted out of ego instead of love. The key here is to get curious instead of defensive. Instead of saying, "I didn't mean it," or "they're being too sensitive," we must learn to say, "I am feeling something. I need to pay attention to this." This is a reckoning with our own emotions and a commitment to understanding what is really going on with us. The second step is the rumble. This is where we get honest about the stories we make up to protect ourselves. When we act selfishly, we often tell ourselves a story to justify it. "I deserved it. They would have done the same thing to me. It's not a big deal." The rumble is the process of challenging these stories. We have to ask ourselves, what is the truth here? What part did I play? What fears or insecurities drove my actions? This is where we rumble with vulnerability, shame, and accountability. It's messy, uncomfortable, and absolutely essential for growth. The final step is the revolution. This is where we take what we learned in the rumble and integrate it into our lives. We write a new ending to the story. This is where transformation happens. It means apologizing without excuses. It means changing our behavior. It means choosing empathy and connection even when it's hard. The revolution is not a one-time event. It is a new way of living. It is a commitment to showing up differently in our relationships, our work, and our communities. It is the brave, daily practice of living a wholehearted life. Transformation doesn't happen in one grand gesture. It happens in small, consistent daily practices. It's about building new muscles of empathy and connection. One of the most powerful things you can do is to commit to one daily act of selflessness. This doesn't have to be a big thing. It can be as simple as letting someone go ahead of you in line. It could be sending a text to a friend to tell them you are thinking of them. It could be actively listening to a family member without interrupting. The goal is to consciously shift your focus from me to we for a few moments each day. Another vital practice is keeping a journal. Writing is a powerful tool for self-awareness. It helps us get out of our heads and see our thoughts and feelings on paper. You can use it to track your progress. You could write down your one selfless act each day. You could use it to rumble with a difficult situation, exploring the story you told yourself and what the truth might be. A journal is a safe space to be honest with yourself. to practice self-compassion, and to map out the person you truly want to become. It is a private arena for your own growth. Don't be afraid to ask for feedback. This is a truly daring act of vulnerability. Find one or two people you trust deeply. These should be people who you know have your best interests at heart. Ask them a brave question like, is there any way that I sometimes come across as selfish? Or can you tell me about a time when my actions had a negative impact on you? You must be prepared to just listen. Do not defend. Do not explain. Just listen and say, thank you for trusting me with that. This is invaluable information for your journey. Finally, practice gratitude with intention. Selfishness often grows from a place of scarcity, a belief that there isn't enough to go around. Gratitude is the antidote. Every day, take a moment to name 3 specific things you are grateful for. But take it one step further. Think about the people who contributed to those good things. Are you grateful for a delicious meal? Thank the person who cooked it. Are you grateful for a project's success? Acknowledge the team members who helped. This practice rewires your brain to see the interconnectedness of life and recognize the contributions of others. Now it is your turn to step into the arena. Find a quiet space. Take out a notebook and a pen. This is not for anyone else to see. This is for you. This is your space to be honest, to be vulnerable, and to be brave. Remember, the goal here is not shame. The goal is awareness. The goal is to shine a light so that we can find our way. Let's start with a simple, powerful prompt that will help you begin the work of reckoning and rumbling with this topic in your own life. Think about a recent interaction where you left feeling a little bit uneasy. Maybe it was a conversation with a friend, a meeting at work, or a moment with your family. It doesn't have to be a huge conflict. It could be a small moment that just didn't sit right with you. Hold that specific moment in your mind. Replay it like a short movie scene. Don't judge it yet. Just observe it. See the setting. Hear the words that were said, both by you and by the other person. Pay attention to the feelings that come up as you remember it. Now, I want you to answer these questions in your journal. Be as honest as you can. First, the story I told myself. In that moment, what was the story I made up about the situation? What did I tell myself about the other person? What did I tell myself about my own actions or intentions? For example, they were being unreasonable, so I had to stand my ground, or I was just trying to be efficient. They took it the wrong way. Write down the narrative that you created in the heat of the moment. Second, rumbling with the truth. Now, let's challenge that story. What are the facts of the situation, separate from my interpretation? What feelings was I experiencing right before I acted, like fear, insecurity, stress, or exhaustion? How might my actions have been perceived by the other person? What part of their perspective might I be missing? Could my actions, regardless of my intent, have felt selfish to them? This is the rumble. Stay in the discomfort and keep asking questions. The journey from selfishness to selflessness is not a destination. It is a practice. It is a way of life. It is the path of the wholehearted. It is a choice we make every single day in 100 small moments. It is the choice to see the humanity in others. It is the choice to lead with generosity. It is the choice to believe that we are all connected, that my liberation is tied to yours. This is not about erasing yourself. It is about expanding your sense of self to include others. It's about understanding that we are at our best when we lift each other up. Remember this: you are worthy of love and belonging right now, exactly as you are. Your mistakes do not define you. Your moments of selfishness do not define you. What defines you is your courage to get back up. What defines you is your willingness to look at your imperfections and say, this is part of my story, but it is not the end of my story. You have the power to write a new chapter. You have the capacity to grow into a more compassionate, connected, and loving version of yourself. This capacity is not reserved for a select few. It is our shared birthright. This work is the bravest work you will ever do. It is easier to build walls. It is easier to numb our feelings. It is easier to blame others and live inside the stories we create. The harder, more courageous path is to tear down the walls, feel our emotions, and take responsibility for our lives. It is the path of vulnerability and empathy. It is the path that leads to true, authentic connection. It is the path that fills the inner emptiness with meaning, purpose, and joy. It is the only path that leads back to ourselves and to each other. So, dare greatly. Step into that arena. Choose courage over comfort. Choose to be seen. Choose to connect. When you stumble, and you will, offer yourself compassion and get back up. Know that in doing this work, you are not just changing your own life. You are changing the world around you. Every act of selflessness, every moment of empathy, every time you choose connection over your ego, you send a ripple of hope and healing into the world. You become a living, breathing testament to the fact that transformation is possible. And that is a truly beautiful and powerful thing.